You can do it however you like it.
We'll try to do it just right.
I like this room.
Yeah, I like it too. So here we go. Let's try this. That's right. Let's try this again. Here we are with Jeff Menig. Talking
Only yours.
Talking shit with Sid.
Oh, is that what this is called?
Yeah, that's what we're going with.
Oh, I love that. I am ready to talk some fucking shit then.
That's so we shall. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself before we get rolling. So give them a little perspective.
Well, currently I have been the marketing director at the Masquerade here in Atlanta for the last 3 years. I've been in the music industry for the last 21 years overall, mostly as a event, festival, tour promoter, as well as artist manager and marketer.
Very cool. So when you came to the Masquerade, you had already been doing other, like you said, other things like that. What all were you doing that led you to being a marketing manager for a big venue like that?
Well, let's see. In 1999, when I was still in high school, to date myself a little bit, I started booking DIY shows and did that for about 4 years, the time I would have went to college. From there, got a job working for a bigger production company called Rhythm Den Productions that was in the Hudson Valley area of New York. Did that for a few years. From there, ended up doing some touring, tour managing some small bands, and then doing some merchandising for Glamour Kills Clothing, which was like a big Warped Tour kind of like pop rock style thing.
I remember that.
It was the one. It was huge, like probably like a decade ago at this point. It was the one that had the flying pig logo.
Yeah,
like All Time Low and Mayday Parade and We the Kings, and when then all that stuff was really hot, like 2009 to 2012. That's when it was its biggest. But then from there, the promoter I was working for went out of business, so I went back to Poughkeepsie, started my own production company, and just took over the market. Ended up taking over the Chance Theater completely in Poughkeepsie, basically, which led me to doing a few events called A Very GK Holiday and Eat Your Heart Out Festival, which were both Glamour Kills sponsored events, like yearly, similar to your Slaughter Q events, actually, like 3 rooms like that, probably like 2,000 people. And those led me to getting a job doing social media marketing and VIP experience for the Bamboozle Festival in 2009. So it was the festival in 2010. Worked for them for the last 3 years of that festival, which then...
What type of festival was that?
Well, to put it in perspective, the last year that it took place in 2012, it was in Asbury Park, New Jersey on the beach. Day 2 was Foo Fighters, My Chemical Romance, and it did 50,000 paid.
Nice.
On Saturday alone.
Yeah.
I think it did like 96,000 paid for the whole weekend. It was like Skrillex, Incubus, Bon Jovi.
Well, the Foo Boys have been pulling those big numbers for quite some time. You say you had Foo Fighters headline one of your nights, it's like, that's a packed out house.
Not only did they headline, but from the stage, they left. There was a backstage that we had to bring in a helipad and had a helicopter on standby.
Oh, ballers.
And as soon as they were done playing their set, they got into the helicopter to fly to New York City to, I think, perform on Saturday Night Live or one of the late night shows or something like that. So literally they were done with us at 11 p.m. After a 2-hour set. Helicopter straight to New York City to play again.
That's amazing. The one time I seen them live was here. One of the last times they played at. They've been a couple times since then. But when they played, he kept calling it Big Fucking Stadium. The Georgia Tech State, the
old Turner Field.
Yeah, the old whatever the fuck it's called, Turner Field. That's what it is. That's what it's gonna always be. But they had this amazing huge setup with LED screen, diamond shit that's fucking lifting off the stage and pivoting and multi-layered 3D screens and this crazy stuff. and then Curtis, and then seen them the very next night in Jacksonville with the same setup. And I was just thinking, oh my God, what does it take to get from Atlanta to there with that production? I can only just taking a full stage of gear and doing that alone is an ass kicking.
Have you ever seen them break down Warped Tour?
I've seen other festivals
or stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty insane. Like one of the tours that I worked on for Glamour Kills was, I think it was 2007 Taste of Chaos tour. It was the Used, 30 Seconds to Mars, Census Fail, Seos and Chiodos and Aiden. And it was doing like NBA arenas or amateur hockey arenas, and then some outdoor stuff. But it was literally shows every day, and I would see them be able to load in and load out that entire production. It was just like wild to see how like much of a machine it was.
Did that become one of my young loves as like a young 20-year-old guy?
Mm-hmm.
My first festival working was, I think maybe one of the Shaky Knees or something. Yeah, the very first Shaky Knees, and I had no idea what I was in for.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked like I was on site, and it turned into Woodstock. And
right.
It was myself and Renee and a couple other cats out there, and we just had our ass handed to us. But at the end of it, I look back and was like, oh my God, I just had the time of my life. And now fast forward 20, 30 some odd produced festivals later, and worked alongside some of the biggest ones at Music Midtown and Shaky Knees and all the other things that Tim's done.
Yep.
And to watch, like you said, watch them fold out and then fold back up it's ridiculous. It's like watching ants work and build a big mound overnight.
Yep, it really is. Literally out of, and most of, before it was in Asbury Park, the Bamboozle Festival was just in the parking lot of Giants Stadium, the football team in New Jersey. So literally building the entire festival just out of nothing, just using imagination and
like
building
your
it.
old parking lot festival style, just like the Warped Tours end up doing outside of the amphitheaters and stuff, that portion.
Yeah, so like literally John D., still talk to him, a very good friend of mine, one of my mentors. He was the one who created the Bamboozle. Like one year he was like, I want a B-boy dance competition. So it's like, cool, let's figure out how to fucking to do that and work it into the layout and all that stuff. But it worked, and it was cool. So then from Bamboozle, then I did work on some other festivals like Skate and Surf Festival, which was we did the Fallout Boy. It was the Fallout Boy reunion show as our headliner, which was really cool because I was basically the one that leaked the information that Fallout Boy was doing a reunion, because I knew that we were going to announce our festival the week later and it would just dominate.
Right.
And it did. It just took over the internet, and we sold out very quickly.
You Elvis'd all the headlines.
Correct.
Hey, I love it. That's kind of what you got to do these days. And even those days, and even I guess the Elvis days, that's where fuck.
I could not imagine those days.
I think it would have been fun juking and jiving a little more back then. You could play the game a little harder back then.
It was probably more of a game even.
Yeah, because I mean, people had to be smarter to catch your bluff, I guess, or no matter what, you know. And I don't know. I think people just had to be smarter with it. Now it's a different type of game now, and to say that they're smarter or not might be debatable.
Yeah, I don't know if Elvis was necessarily smart. But yeah, after doing all of that stuff and promoting just a ton of shows over a 5 or 6 year period, I wanted to get out of that, to be honest. So I started managing bands with this band Sworn In, and did that for a while. Then ended up moving down to Georgia after I needed a little reset, and the Masquerade came a calling, and it just felt like the perfect match to kind of get me back into the game, so to speak. So yeah, now I've been there for 3 years, and now I'm managing some bands again, and just launched a a new platform website on the side as well that I was able to work on and launch because of COVID and quarantine. So just kind of
that's
now just going with the flow.
That's also quarantine, and everything's given a lot of people that haven't had time and have ideas baking, in the pot and over there just chilling and stewing. I know a lot of cats that have been able to get things out and take this time and utilize it and bring this shit to fruition. So what's about that platform you released?
So it's called Featured X. It's just featuredx.com. And it's a platform that basically gives you the ability to try and get another vocalist or another artist to feature on your song or project if you're in a band or you're an artist. So we launched just less than 2 weeks ago, mostly in the Warped Tour realm and like the metalcore, screamo, emo kind of world.
Oh, but looking at your lineup, of people you got here, you got quite a few. I mean, there's quite a selection already to be this new.
AK, who was the original vocalist for Chelsea Grin, he's on there. He's one of our big guys. Tyler Carter from Issues, Jaden from Siler. Then who else do we have here? Spencer from Ice Nine Kills, Shane Told from Silverstein. Little Lotus, who's also in this band called If I Die First, but he's like a big SoundCloud rapper.
Oh, okay.
Like an emo rapper kind of thing.
Right.
And because like a lot of those guys are starting bands now, actually. There he is, Little Lotus. But yeah, you can see, pretty diverse. It pretty much looks like a Warped Tour lineup.
No, I see this thing taking off, man. This is a really cool idea. So like if you're in a band and you want to have one of these cooler guys come on and you want to bring their weight to your song.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that much like in hip hop, how they leverage each other to help each other.
Go back up. Who's that guy right there? The motherfucker looks like Doctor Strange.
Hey, him right there?
Yeah.
Ricky from Hawk?
Yeah.
He also plays in Ice Nine Kills too. He was in
The Avengers.
Ricky was the singer of This or the Apocalypse.
Okay.
You remember them?
Vaguely. Probably not. Just that pit.
They toured with like Shai Hulud and stuff like that.
Just like I said.
Yeah, so like I said, we've launched in the Warped Tour world kind of, and we're looking to kind of have that taken over, and everyone who's anyone in that world currently or was in that world, we hope to have up there very soon, and then launch into hip hop and pop and country, and basically want to just have anyone. We also want YouTubers on here, like Jared Dines.
Well, this is similar to, it's kind of the...
it's basically Cameo,
exactly
but for artist-to-artist collaboration.
Well, it's making it where celebrities can even somewhat get in on the gig culture or gig economy in a sense.
Right.
It's still keeping, and they can set their price at whatever they want. Y'all chop it up however y'all want to.
Yeah, they set their own prices.
It works for everybody. I like it. It makes sense. It's after Cameo came out, and I seen that. I didn't see this coming, but I seen other versions and things. Like I said, cutting the middleman out and allowing everyone to do the gig economy. The same thing of what these OnlyFans and paid things like that are doing to the porn industry. They're just
absolutely. Actually, and more people besides just the porn industry are starting to use it.
Exactly, and it makes so much sense. It's a really cool thing.
And to be honest, a lot of this and some of the other ideas I'm working on and have been working on during quarantine all have stemmed from the fact that none of my friends make enough money.
Yeah, right.
All of my friends are in bands. Like, I've always gravitated towards them and been friends with them rather than just other suits or whoever in the industry, you know what I mean?
Right.
And just hearing and finding out, and then when I started managing them and then just seeing how things operated, within parts of the industry, and it's just like, man, I really think my friends have kind of been brainwashed and fucked pretty bad.
You think? Yeah.
And I like, the more I kind of discovered, the more it just made me angry. So I've just been kind of working on tons of ideas of, okay, how can I make my friends money in ways they've never made before.
Yeah, that's really cool because that's what it's about right now is being the first ones to plow off on your own field and figure out how to flat out make money with these new markets, these new territories that we're coming into.
Yes.
For fucking 15 years or so, the internet boom has been coming, and so many people, including myself, didn't understand it for a couple years and had to really start paddling that board when the wave came just to catch it. And a lot of us, and myself included, barely have caught it and are still trying to get solid on that board.
Are you still speaking just within the music industry?
No, I'm speaking more with the social industry in general, of what it takes nowadays to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
And the like one of the things I've been telling a lot of bands is mentally, maybe stop thinking of yourself as a band. Think of yourself as a content machine.
Mm-hmm.
The band is one of the most important heads on this three-headed dog. But you are now, in order to stay with your head above water and relevant, it's about content. Music and music videos, all that are content, but there's so much more to the personality of the band and things you can do. Ricky, you love to cook. You need to start a cooking show on our YouTube page.
100%.
Doc, you're a gear nut. You won't ever shut the fuck up talking to me about gear. You're going to start a gear tutorial thing, interview.
Yes, literally just, okay, what are you into besides the band? Do something around that.
Yeah, and each member can have their own subset thing that's all still part of and it's a content machine nowadays.
Yeah, all you have to do is just show, and you don't have to overthink it. You just have to document and show you doing it and doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because whatever it is.
I started doing, before this site kind of, and this idea really took off, I was doing free 2-hour-long consultations with local bands. And
I think I've seen you do it. Remember the post coming up?
Yeah, I did like close to 30 of them, I think.
Oh, really?
But one of the things is, I'm telling these bands, I'm like, you should be, I feel like I probably threw out some crazy number, like 100 pieces of content a day. And they just are like, what? And I'm just like, what do you mean, what?
What do you mean, what?
They're like, they're like, we can't produce that much content. Like, that's absurd. And I'm just like, okay, but you're overthinking it. Like, if you're just Instagramming, storying what you're doing all day long, like each of those counts as one of those things.
Right.
Same thing with like just a stupid tweet. Like, that counts too. So like, it doesn't have to be 100 important things. I'm just saying you need to physically be putting yourself out there as close to 100 times as possible, because literally it's just a game of the more you put yourself out there, the more chances you have to have likes and engagements and content, which means you have more of a chance to be higher in the algorithm. Literally, the computer's job is just to show people the pages that get the most engagement, because they assume the pages that get the most engagement are the most valuable to the humans on the other side.
Right.
So if you're only posting twice a week, it's like you're playing a baseball game every day, but you're only going to bat twice. You're not even giving yourself the chance to hit a home run.
That's a perfect analogy.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and much like in base, and it's so funny. I use this baseball analogy a lot with this, and I don't like baseball. But much like in baseball, you can win a game by hitting a home run or multiple home runs, right? And the rest of your guys can strike out, or you can hit by pitch, single, double, single, walk, single, and just small ball, and eventually you'll still win the game.
Right.
So you don't need every piece of content to be a home run and go viral. You just need to be consistent and just poke and poke and poke and poke, and you just keep hitting a single, keep making contact, and eventually one's going to get through the infield. And then eventually you'll have momentum. The crowd stands on their feet. You know what I mean? Like, there's energy in the room. And then the next thing you know, things start taking off.
Yeah, no.
That's literally the approach that we use with Left to Suffer. And that's why I launched them from scratch, because it was like, okay, you've been a band for a year as Lost at Last. you only post on your Facebook page once a week. So like, I don't care that you have 10,000 likes on it. Like, it's going to take so much effort to trick the computer into thinking we're relevant again, because you haven't given yourself a chance to remain relevant in the algorithm.
You're not making enough noise.
Right. So it's like, no, let's just, one, I was like, your band name sucks. Two, you're lost on the algorithm. So you're better off starting from scratch, getting a new band name. And once we start, you don't stop. Meaning, once we launch the pages, we drop that first song. Now, every single day, we're posting on the internet. We're posting content every day. And they're going live almost every night.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing the singer was Taylor on his own. He's doing plenty of content out, staying ready from singing.
Oh, he does even extra.
That's what I'm saying. He's rolling, doing stuff. I see the band going live.
Well, they take everything I say to heart, unlike most people.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's I think one of the artists, back when I first met you a few years back and we started going through it, we were talking these same conversations. The weird thing that I face at times is, and I think it's just a generational thing, is that I can't help but think, Jesus Christ, you look like an asshole filming yourself and putting yourself on your Snapchat and on the Instagram and on all these things nonstop throughout the day. It's just hard for me to get my head right unless I have something worthy to say. And trying on days when we're doing things, then I see plenty of opportunities to go live on a production day or do things. But just throughout the house and stuff, it's hard for me to get my ego past it, or just, like I said, I don't think it's an ego thing. I think it's an age thing.
Oh, it's hilarious. I don't post on the internet basically ever. Like, I promote stuff, like shows, but like,
well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't post on my Instagram. Like,
well, that's my point. Is like,
I don't care.
I'm always promoting an event or trying to get somebody to check something out. It's hard being the new wave of doing it because they want to see peel the onion back. Correct.
It's like just creating your own reality TV show.
Yeah, fuck me running, right? So,
I mean, a show about the Masquerade would crush.
I've thought about it, actually. But really the reason that I kind of bailed on the idea was I think that's come and gone. The show should have been done around the same time that The Real World came out in the early 90s.
There's still shows in that format that are crushing.
Yeah, I think so, but I think it'd just be such a shame to what it could have been, of what the show would, of what if the exact same dynamic, but if you take it to what the club was.
So are we talking like the early 2000s?
The early 2000s would have been would have been a good return, like a 10-year comeback. That would have been just. But if you would have filmed it in 1992, 1993,
oh boy,
holy shit!
Gotcha.
For those of you who don't know, the Masquerade is owned by former members of a outlandish band known as the Impotent Sea Snakes. Check them out. You can find them on YouTube. It's wild. And in the early 90s was when they were kicking ass and doing their thing. And they did it for a while, but
how popular were they in the States?
I was a little too young for it. I've seen lots of footage and seen that they've played good shows. They played Wacken.
That's in Europe.
Yeah, and that's like the biggest and there is. It's pretty big. Matt, pull that up.
Yeah, I've seen that footage on YouTube. Yeah.
It's huge.
I think the first week I worked at the club, I showed it.
Yeah, it's kind of a rite of passage. Oh, here. I'm sure.
Because there was a lot of different things within the company structure that, like passwords and whatnot, that had to do with snakes and sea snakes. And I'm like,
what the fuck is
what the hell is going on? Oh, we should probably tell you.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
That's second one down. Third one down.
Yeah, the third one down.
Yeah, that's
kangaroos up the butt.
So they had a damn show going for sure.
Yeah, I like the guy on the stilts.
I like the guy in the blonde playing the guitar.
I think I know that guy. Yeah, this thing has almost 92,000 views from Masquerade employees.
Oh shit, that's exactly what it is. Hey, let me show you this. All right, cut that, Matt.
That's hilarious.
It's a shame. I wish I would have gotten to meet Dean though. I never got to meet him. He sounds like he was a pretty fun guy. And
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
but yeah, I enjoy those groups of guys. And being a part of that club's pretty fun. But totally, it's not close to what it was in the deviancy and just crazy stories I've heard. If walls could talk, holy shit, the stories. Because we have stories from the early 2000s and me and the bar squad and different goons that worked there throughout the early 2000s. There's some pretty crazy shit.
Oh, I have some crazy stories from the early 2000s from New York, so I can only imagine what the Masquerade was like during that time.
It's
still pretty crazy.
But like I'm saying, it's like I know what I know about us, but then you look at these Impotent Sea Snakes videos, and most of that footage is on the Heaven stage, the old Heaven stage.
Oh, okay.
And there's fucking people fucking on stage with fucking 10-foot boa constrictors in the mix. And
Yeah, I don't know if I would have lasted back then. That might have been too much for me.
Oh, hush up, drink this, snort that, smoke this, and keep moving. You'll be fine.
That's so funny.
Yeah, they rolled hard, and you wouldn't know nowadays. Everybody's got their shit together so well, running a tight ship. Wink, wink. And it's rolling. I love it.
Yeah, everyone's most of all those old people, they're all older now and probably just tired. I'm sure if they still had the energy to go that hard, they would.
One too long ago, one of them still was.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So with all the time that you've spent with that and all the things that are going on now, and with all the bands and everybody on lockdown and coronavirus, do you think that we're going to be seeing a lot of new EPs, music videos, just music in general coming out of these people? You should, right?
I don't think they. I mean, I would hope that, if you're an artist and you're just at home for 5 months, that you're working on music. I know Left to Suffer has, they just put out a couple new songs, but we just finished recording a brand new 6-song EP. And they've already written 2 or 3 other new songs for after that.
How far out? When are y'all going to drop that EP?
We might drop it at the end of this year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fucking A right.
Mm-hmm. So not only do we post on the internet more than anybody, we put out songs more often.
That's good. So y'all weren't so bitter when dude from Spotify was running his mouth the other day.
I have a completely opposite and different mindset about Spotify than anybody else that I know.
Oh, interesting. Well, lay it on me.
Well, I have friends who are independent artists, meaning that they own their masters, they own their music, who have a good amount of monthly listeners on Spotify. And I know how much money they make. And I know that not only how much money they make on a monthly basis, but after talking to them for a 4-hour conversation, it's like, okay, not only are they making this amount of money every month, it's for fucking ever. And they get to pass it down to their kids.
Is that through BMI and shit like that?
No, it's because streaming pays you every month.
But even if the streaming slows down?
But if you have this, they have 1.5 million monthly listeners.
They're not going down anytime soon.
No. So, I just have had, and since they own their masters, then they turned around and sold them to investors. Because Wall Street, and this is something that nobody knows, and the music industry suits won't tell nobody, but people on Wall Street are starting to go out and buy artists' masters catalogs as investment opportunities because there's more money being made now than ever before. The issue is none of all the artists complaining don't own their music. They sign these shitty record deals where they own between 13 and 17% of the masters, and only their 13 to 17% goes into paying back the loan.
Mm-hmm.
So they take out a loan to, they have to pay it back. They take out a loan to not own the thing after paying it back, and they have to pay it back with that small percentage. That's why they never recoup.
Yeah, they never
and
get
that's why they don't see any money from streaming, because they don't recoup because of that, and because they only own 13%. So yeah, they're only getting a little bit tiny bit of the money. But if you have if you have like 6 or 7 albums out, like if you have 75 songs and you have like 1.5 million monthly listeners, you're going to be making $20,000 a month.
That's what I was saying. If a person has 1 million monthly listeners, they can expect
1 million monthly listeners. If you have, 75 plus songs, you're probably making $15,000 a month. If you own your masters.
See, I once heard the metric that we're talking single songs here, that for 1 million streams of that song will turn into $2,000. And I don't know where the chop up comes out. Did you own the masters full out? Were you pinched off by?
That always needs to be that's always my first question when people say they don't make money off of digital music.
Well, what about
because I'm like, okay, Left to Suffer is an independent band, and they're broke.
What about companies like?
We have only invested like $250 into advertising for each of their songs.
What about
pennies.
companies like CD Baby? When a local band utilizes them for their distribution,
we use DistroKid, which is similar to CD Baby.
So whenever they do and split up the money on the digital that they've distributed out to the different places, how much are they taking off of that versus being that you still own your masters, but they're handling a distribution fee?
You just pay them $20 a year.
That's it, and they don't take any, and then you're taking 100% of your
Left to Suffer as
streams.
I'm saying Left to Suffer as an independent artist. They only have 7 original songs out.
Right.
Since January, they've been between 25 and 35,000 monthly listeners on 7 original songs and a cover song.
Right.
They already make $1,000 a month.
Okay, so that's coming in decent.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
They pay their van. They upgraded they took out a loan they took out a Sam Ash card, bought a bunch of new gear. We have people who help with social media. We have we're putting together a team, and at first they didn't, again, and it's something you have to grow and snowball.
I understand, yeah.
So at first, whatever, they paid for things out of pocket, but then literally within the band being a band for a year, they don't pay for anything out of pocket.
That's the idea, yeah. I mean,
literally the band pays for itself.
You get this ball rolling, and then it should take off on its own if you got something in there. Yeah, you've done a great job growing this guy. I've been watching it since you got involved to where it is now. It's tremendous in 1 year.
It was it's basically just they didn't have a lot of money. They had a couple songs recorded, and I think they might have had a music video already. And it was just like, okay, this is how much money you have. Cool. Let's drop it and let's flip this money into this much money. And then we just keep flipping and keep doing that and keep going. And because it's like, I came up from a broke family, and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to book fucking hardcore and punk rock shows to make money and just whatever. And, so I had to do that. So it just came naturally to me.
Did you get lucky on your first show? Was your first show, did you make money?
I overpaid the bands what I told them I was going to pay them. This is before there was a back-end percentage. So it was just a flat guarantee. It was a DIY show I rented out in Elks Lodge. But do you remember the band Reach the Sky from Boston on Victory Records?
Yes.
I booked them through Matt Pike.
Okay.
They were my favorite band. They were like my senior quote in the yearbook and everything.
Shit.
Yeah. And we were like juniors and we were talking about like, we play at the Chance once every 3 months. We sell 50 tickets. It's good, right? But how the fuck do we play? How do we get more shows? Like, we don't know like how to do that. Like, it's pre-internet basically. Like, there's no MySpace or anything like that. So somebody just jokingly around said, well, if you booked your own show, you could put your band on to open. And I was just like, well, fucking A, that sounds like a good idea.
Duh.
How do you do that? And they were like, I don't know. I was just kidding. I'm like, well, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of research and found Matt Pike's phone number and just cold called him and pretended like I already was a promoter.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even I straight up lied to him.
That's how I love those days.
Yeah, the fake it till you make it stuff. But yeah, no. So, but they had a guarantee of $500.
Oh, big money.
Yep. And then there was 2 other out of state bands that I was into. One was called Fear Tomorrow, and one was called 40 Days Rain. They went on to be Kanai. If you don't, it was a long time ago. But and then it was my band and a couple other local bands. And actually, do you know the hardcore band that's getting popular right now called Mind Force?
Yeah, they've come across my radar.
Jay, the vocalist, his old band that he played drums in was the opening band on this show.
Okay.
Yeah. Damn, I'm just dating Jay. Sorry, Jay. But yeah, no, the show did 268 people paid through the front door. And I overpaid all of the bands. Literally went up to Ian from Reach the Sky, Ian Larrabee, the singer of Reach the Sky, and was just like, here's, I think I gave them either $800 or $900
bonus on a DIY show.
And I was like, hey, there's more than I was supposed to pay you. You probably shouldn't tell your agent about that so you don't have to give them a commission on it. Oh. And he grabs me. He goes, kid, what the fuck did you just say? And he pulls me aside. He goes, why are you giving me this extra money? And I'm like, you're my favorite band. Like, this is sick. And he's just like, are you okay? Did you make a little bit of money? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, this is the first show I've ever done. He's like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, yeah. He's like, how many people? I'm like, 268. He's like, God damn, kid. But yeah, I overpaid all the bands and I made $1,000.
Dude, that's the sweetest story I've ever heard of a young little talent.
Yeah, 17 years old, and went back to my friend. Actually, went to Jesse, the bassist from Basque, his house.
Okay.
Went back to his house. I think he had just graduated from high school like that summer, but he was in one of the other local bands that played, one of the opening bands. So went back to his place. I bought like pizza, beer, and soda for all of our friends. And I'm just like sitting on his bed counting $1,000. Because I literally made it so I was like, okay, I can spend all this money on pizza, beer, and food and do all this stuff for my friends. I'm gonna make sure though my profit is $1,000 on the penny. So I did that. So I'm sitting there counting $1,000 fucking dollars and literally just light bulb moment, literally like bing. And I'm just like, this is what I'm doing. Fuck college. Like, I'm good at this.
That's what me and somebody else were talking about. It's almost a curse though to do great on your first show. He's like, oh, this is just fucking peas and carrots. This is easy shit. Easy sunshine right here, buddy.
Right.
You get that ass burnt later on the line. I think it's funny that you said he's like, oh, I did that. Felt good about it. And I went back and was hanging out with Jesse and all these guys. He went back and got in the van and said, hey, guess what this stupid fucking kid just did? They were like, oh, God bless him. Let's sign me up for another.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so good.
Yeah, so I just never looked back. Just started renting out any place that would let me rent it out to have noise, to have bands played. You know what I mean? Like anywhere. Coffee shops, abandoned rooms, like places on college campuses.
Well, it's the I'll be damned mentality. That's the same thing that got Slaughter Q started and all the other endeavors that I've rolled through. Has always been, And it was that same aha moment. Well, how do you get these bigger shows? Hey, you're just not getting other people throwing these offers out here and handling this stuff. How do you do it? And then I don't know if somebody said it or what. No, I think I heard.
I just didn't know any better. I didn't know that
I didn't either.
that I shouldn't be getting those bands. Like I just was like, oh, I'm hitting up everybody.
I just didn't think of it that way. And I think I seen an interview with Jamie Josta, and he was saying the same fucking problem, and he said he started, and I was like, well, aha.
Well, it's interesting. After I started booking shows for the next couple of years, it was like literally from everywhere between Poughkeepsie and Albany, just that whole netherworld of suburbs and country, that in just all of those random markets. That's where I was booking shows. But I was starting to do stuff like, I did one show, like this is like summer of 2001. I did a show that was Thursday from Autumn to Ashes, Sky Came Falling, Fair Weather, This Day Forward, and In Pieces, all on one show in a 150 cap venue.
Oh, wow.
And then in that same venue, Rise Against played, Further Seems Forever played, Every Time I Die played.
That place was just busting at the seams.
It's called the Flying Saucer Cafe. It was a UFO and alien themed coffee shop.
Lovely.
It was so sick. So sick. But I started doing shows there in May of 2001, and in August they were already closed because besides the shows, they got no business.
The story of all of them. One of the things right now is just hating it for the small venue. Those venues right now they're eating it, man.
Yeah, every venue.
Well, it's just the guys that can't hold on, because I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people really giving smaller venues that are starting to do shows a lot of flack, and I get that. But then on the flip, I understand too. It's like they're like, I have no choice. It's either I'm going to lose this place or I got to try to do something to at least pay the nut.
I see that too, but from the people who are freaking out's point of view, it's like we all can't move forward until we all can move forward. So if people just start going rogue, and if that happens to set everything back,
then here you are.
Then fuck you. Yeah, then you just fucked it for everybody.
Yeah,
So it has to be a unified front. That's because as of right now, because of the false starts that we've had, 100% touring, and we might have to edit this out, is not returning at least until April.
No, we don't have to edit it out. That's what's happening.
And that's the earliest maybe.
Yeah, at this moment.
Right. So if small venues want, I don't know, it's like, can they survive just doing local shows for the next year?
I doubt it. Well, that was my thing, is like, once everything picks up, and if a quote new norm of less capacity shows becomes an actual thing, does it become larger bands playing more intimate shows at a higher ticket price?
It becomes IRL, and this is music and everything else too. This is IRL experiences are going to be astronomically higher. And there's going to be alternate digital virtual reality versions of those same experiences for really, very cheap. That's what's the reality of what's going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah,
I'm already seeing the advertisements for on-stage virtual reality beyond 2 Chainz stage. I've seen that advertised for shows that have already happened. Already seeing the people that are doing their live concerts inside Fortnite. And shit like that.
But I'm saying, like, literally the entire world, I think, is going to become that. Like, do you want to go bungee jumping? Cool. So instead of $1,000, now it's $100,000 to do it in real life, or $100 to do it virtually.
Yeah. No, I mean,
and I just think everything is going to go that route.
Have you done much
driving cars? I think will go that route.
Have you done much virtual reality things? Have you did that?
A little bit. For as much as I study it a lot.
Right.
And for as much as someone who studies it, you would think that I use it all the time, and I don't.
I don't have the rig in here. I'm gonna have to get it here in the studio. But what the consumer can get, the first gen from PlayStation alone, what they will give a consumer, and not every game's a home run, but the ones that really get it going, and that being the ground level, oh yeah, they're gonna be able to do some crazy shit coming down the line.
I mean, just in the last, when did Nintendo come out? In the 80s?
84, 5.
Okay.
6, something like that.
So from there until now, where video games have gone in 35 years.
Oh, they look like
now imagine another 35 years and that same progression of evolution of them. You know what I mean? Like it's only going to keep exponentially going up.
Every time I think of this commercial, I think of the PlayStation 2 commercial. Every time I talk about the evolution of the games. I don't know if you remember this, but when PlayStation 2 came out, it was actually a commercial for PlayStation 9. And this dude comes home and grabs this orb off his coffee table and twists it, and these scents or some shit come out, and he sniffs, and it's like tapping into the dental gland, PlayStation 9.
Oh.
And the motherfucker sits back in his chair and goes into this realm and plays it, and it's like PlayStation 9. But first, PlayStation 2. And
but what's funny is that's probably, most people thought like, wow, that's crazy, funny, ha ha ha. No, they're Easter egging you.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like they're giving you a glimpse into the future so that when it does actually happen and you have these trinklets of memories of it, you won't be so freaked out by it when it comes.
Well, that's some...
They just move the goalposts a little bit.
That's some look to the stars shit right there.
What's that?
You don't know about that?
No.
It's what's his name? Tom DeLonge from Blink.
Right. Yes.
His company that he has looked.
Is that what it's called? Look to the stars?
Something like that. Yeah. Look to the stars. And the way I understood it from the Joe Rogan and then a couple other, I went on a fucking wormhole checking this crazy shit out when I seen it.
Have you watched this TV show?
Tom's?
Yeah.
No. He's got a show?
Yeah, about all that alien shit.
Oh God, I can't wait to get in that.
And it's really good. He's not in it a lot, but...
Well, that's what I'm going to get at. His company Look to the Stars. The way he described what the company's purpose is, they work with government agencies and the people that behind the curtain, and their job is to slowly over the next 15, 20, I don't know how many years, but to start inching the true information out in video, audio, books, magazines, all the true situations, like you just said, the Easter egging things, and he's going to be his company
because it's something crazy. It's like aliens are among us. They control the world. It's some crazy shit, right?
Well, and that's the whole point of it. It's like it's what the truth is. They're going to start more and more, and I believe they already have been doing that with cinema and things for years. That way it's just to get you a little closer. When you finally get it, go, okay, I kind of understand that. Garlic water will kill that vampire or whatever, it is. It's always I love that conversation when you can find somebody that's a true denier or deep about it. Either way, that's just a fun conversation. I don't care what side of the fence.
I'm deep about it.
Yeah, I love it. I don't care what side of the fence you're on.
It was funny.
Let's go down this trail,
Even when we had Angels and Airwaves at the club last year, an astronaut from NASA or something in Alabama, there's like a NASA thing in Alabama, right?
Yeah, Huntsville.
Astronauts and their wives came to the show to hang out with Tom.
Oh, fucking cool.
Yeah. Literally. I was like, of course. That's awesome.
Yeah, it blows my mind that guy, but it makes sense too. Like I said, he's just on the road, obsessed with it as a kid, and this before MySpace.
Right. So now he has all the time and all the money in the world to just do it.
On tour, I could just see him sitting in the back of that 15-passenger van reading these books, and every town you go to, another library, another little bookstore. Oh, got a gym. And reading all this obscure shit to the point of becoming one of the head authorities on the matter.
Yeah. I'm telling you, watch the show though. It's like,
where's it at?
It's on the History Channel.
Okay.
Because everyone else that works at that company are literally like ex-military, ex-CIA, ex-government officials. And they're all the ones that are on the show telling you
doing
about
the testimonies
shit.
and
yeah,
shit. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Back when we would tour, that was one of the things that we would do. Chet really gets off into it, and this was DVR days. I would take my satellite DVR and install a satellite dish on the back of our trailer, and then when we would get where we were going, I would dial the dish in, and we would have satellite in the car. But then as soon as we pulled away, satellite stops working because there's no, the dish is no longer. But we had 400 hours of DVR to watch.
Oh, wow.
But I had to, every time it was, all right, it's time to leave, we crank up the van and power up the DVR. I would still have to tune the dish in and let it load before we could pull off. It was janky. It was awesome.
That's wild.
It was awesome, but it was janky. We would, I don't know. You got me stoned earlier. I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, my bad. Oh, I toured the whole United States in a van without a trailer once, with the gear in the van, no air conditioning.
Ours didn't have air conditioning, but it would at times because we would do redneck shit. Like I said, we had the DVR and the satellite, literal DirecTV satellite dish.
Yeah, you souped up the van.
Then we had a generator on top of the trailer.
Oh, wow.
With extension cords running to a household air conditioner unit in the back window of the van.
That's wild.
It was hot as fuck in Texas, man.
That's super wild. Yeah, I have conversations with bands all the time, and one of the things I bring up is like, man, the first time I toured, there wasn't no GPS.
Our very first tour, no GPS. The very second one,
there wasn't even MapQuest. We used a road atlas, bro. Yeah, it was okay. This is the town that we're in now. This is the town we're playing in tomorrow. What roads look like it gets us there the quickest? Cool. Once we get to that town and we see an exit with that town's name, let's take it and let's stop at a gas station or somewhere and be like, hey, do you know the name of this place? Cool. Can you give us directions? Right. No. Okay. Who could? Cool. And then we find somebody who can give us directions to the venue, and we get there, and that's how we would find the fucking venue. I feel like bands nowadays they couldn't survive.
But no, I wonder now to myself how the fuck we survived, because I almost can't remember those days. I remember
really
when I started driving.
And I only had a calling card to be able to call my parents to call home. I didn't have a cell phone or anything.
When we first started,
I was just out there.
When we first started touring, I remember using the maps. But I think it was our second or third tour. We got a Garmin or a TomTom.
Oh,
those first first things way before when it was a standalone device.
Gotcha. No, I never had one of those. I remember shifting to MapQuest and then having like a tour book binder of MapQuest directions.
Yes, actually, I skipped that. I do remember having the MapQuest folder of same shit with all this directions from home to each venue. And then the fun thing I remember was when you're trying to get back to a venue, but you're not at home.
Right.
And trying to piece it together from the middle out. That was always fun. Nowadays, though, I don't know if I could handle being in a van like that anymore.
Oh, I'm not going on tour ever again unless it's on a bus.
Right.
And even then, it's like,
So the left to suffer boys aren't going to con you in for no Chattanooga, no Jacksonville trips, huh?
Oh, I mean, if it's just like a 1-2 night thing, maybe. Yeah, maybe they will. But no 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, or not even 1 week. 2 days might be as much as I can do. I would like fly to California and do all the California dates with Sworn In and ride in their Sprinter.
That's what.
So that was like 4 or 5 days usually. Like when they went on tour with Attila and Crown the Empire, I did that. That was fun.
You know those Bandigo vans?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're not a sponsor. It'd be cool if they were, because I love your stuff. But the Bandigos, I was renting those for shuttling talent for festivals back and forth.
Okay.
Great deal for bands. They're like $250 a day. They come with 250 miles for the day.
Oh, wow.
See, that's the deal. Most rental cars are that set price, and they don't tell you how much it is with the mileage.
Right.
So it's $250 a day. They have full multiple seat, different setups, TVs, air conditioner kicks ass, plugs for everybody. To be very comfortable and be able to sleep on the road, you know how valuable that is. Out on the West Coast, they have bunk versions already.
Interesting.
They don't have them here on the East Coast yet, or at least they didn't last Slaughter Q when I was renting a couple.
Gotcha.
But when they
are they in town?
Yeah, there's one here in town.
Oh, okay.
He's got it pulled up here. Yeah, multiple options, different setups. Like I said, my main deal on the road is I have an AC, and on these long trips,
there's a section for which game console it has.
Yeah, you want PS4?
Are you a PlayStation or an Xbox?
Well, shit, some of them got both.
Yeah, I see that. Wow.
Onboard Wi-Fi, and like I said, if you're going to be getting a hotel and stuff like that, if you can get comfortable in the van, it's worth it to stay in the van when you're out there making that dog shit money.
Yeah, the bands who overspend on ridiculous
What's
things.
the deal with the vintage van?
Yeah, that's interesting. They said something about Atari. Oh, it comes with Atari in it, bro.
Oh, what's it got? Any interior shots? Dude, that's sick. Oh man,
This would be dope to rent for like a music video or something.
they just showed a for sale price. They didn't have a rental, but yeah, that would be a good one. They took the pictures at the right place. It's definitely a beach type van. Does it have a rental price on it? Or is it just...
It looks like it could be like the Scooby-Doo van or something, right?
Yeah, that is really similar to theirs. Up top, there's not a rental price on that van?
What was that other show?
Just to buy...
What was that? That A-Team?
Oh, yeah, the A-Team had... their van was totally sick.
So sick. I loved that show growing up.
Pity the fool who didn't like A-Team.
That's right.
Did you see the remake movie that they did about maybe 10 years ago or so?
No, I didn't do that. I'm not really into remakes.
You're an OG guy. It was okay.
Although I've brought up an interesting idea that has pissed off a lot of people.
What's that?
Imagine, if you will, a band putting out a reimagined version of another band's old record. Like remaking a movie and a director making it their own.
Oh, wow. That's
so instead of a cover song,
it's a cover album.
And do the whole thing with remake versions of the artwork and everything.
That is an interesting idea because on paper it's the same.
It is the same thing.
I think but I think the same as movies and things like that. You're gonna. It depends on what it is.
I don't think personally as a fan I would like it. Again, I don't really like remakes.
No, I just like.
But because it's my idea, I think it's great.
No, it's a novel idea. I think. Yeah, I'm not sure that. I mean, very, very rarely do I like a remake of anything, a song or that. But I have seen. I don't know. I'm trying to think about a movie remake that I truly like.
Right.
There's plenty of covers.
Well, those It movies were good. Yeah.
They were good. It's one of those things when I catch myself saying, if I hadn't seen the original, I would have enjoyed that. Now,
right.
So does that mean...
It had also been a very long time since I had personally seen the original, too.
The original scared the living shit out of me as a kid.
Me too, yeah.
Like, legit scared the fuck out of me.
I remember renting it on VHS, and it's so long that there was 2 VHS tapes.
I remember that, yep. The 2 VHS tapes on that. Kids nowadays don't have a clue about that shit.
They're like, what's a VHS?
Or I watched Pee Wee Herman religiously as a kid. Actually,
the Playhouse.
Yep. This table here was I grew up with this table.
Oh, wow.
And it was in front of our entertainment system. And I would put it in so much, and it had already warped at this point. That's what I was going to say. Kids don't know about when you've played a VHS so much, it has warping spots and things like that. But it was my favorite one, and I climbed up the entertainment system and fell backwards and hit my arm on this table and shattered it in like 3 places. My arm, not the table. The table ain't giving. It's solid.
Jesus.
So that was the beginning of the crooked arm.
The crooked arm.
Yeah. How you like that chair? These were these first purchases. They're pretty fucking uncomfortable, huh?
My butt's numb.
That's what we're gonna call this episode.
Numb butt. We got a little sidetracked, but yeah, I mean, I think, artists hopefully are working on all sorts of things, and something that I think that everyone needs to realize is whether or not you personally like or enjoy these digital live stream concerts or experiences or not means nothing. They are here to stay. They are not going anywhere.
Well, I think
so. You should start to do them now, and you should get good at doing them, and you should do them differently than other people.
That's it.
Because they are not going anywhere. You could literally, you don't ever have to leave your house if you're an artist.
Yeah,
like
I've been watching them, but not enjoying them.
You can build your audience online, and then you can play one show that's basically like an arena show to your entire audience.
And you can pick
if a purgatory band
that way too. There's going to be people drop by, and if you can hold them, you might find a new fan that way. That's not coming into the venue.
Saying if a band the size of Purgatory, if they promoted the shit out of it, did a big production digital show, and made it a big to do, and really promoted it, they would 100% be able to get like 10,000 people to watch them. They'd be playing an arena.
Oh, yeah.
It's just all of their fans in one place at the same time. But how long
does that last, and how often can they do it and maintain that? I mean,
it's up to them to make the experience as interesting enough to warrant it.
It becomes content. It's just another part of your content. It's just your live stream content.
And again, I'm not saying that that will be the only thing. I'm just saying because people have made so much money that it's just not going to go away.
Yeah.
People are now just going to make it better.
I think that's the trick, is like learning how to produce your higher quality end of that, and bands learning how to record themselves and put it out live versus just their cell phone, what they've been doing, just raw dogging it up there. It's just everybody's going to figure out how to stand up on their own legs and do this new thing.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of problem solving. No big deal.
Going back to the VR thing for a second, though, I seen a fucking electronic fucking convention thing, and these guys were doing VR for what would be concerts, comedy shows, football, all types of. And you wear the goggles, and you can literally reach in and grab, say, the comedian, grab that fucker, and put him in your living room. And now he's standing and pacing and walking through your coffee table. And
it's wild.
Same thing with the lead singer of a band. Pick them up and put them singly in your living room.
I'm just saying, and I've just noticed, okay, so many people are working from home now, and sure, there are a good amount of people or a section of people who are just going to take advantage of that and just not do shit and be lazy. But I feel the majority of people become more productive, so maybe they just get more work done in less time because they're so comfortable in their surroundings.
Sometimes it's true for
There's
me.
no anxiety or stress or just weird energy or whatever. Like, they feel comfortable, and when you feel comfortable and safe, you're just more at ease to be yourself and just to blast through and do stuff. So I don't know, I feel like everything is going to be geared towards that, as like actual anxiety in the world is like being ramped up generation to generation, right?
Yeah.
If you can provide something now, like, okay, you can have these experiences, but without the anxiety that the outside world gives you. Oh, okay, cool. That, the next generation is going to fall in love with this kinds of thing.
And also because it's built for it, because the next generation seems to promote being like an introvert. is like something that's like bragging rights now. So they're just waiting on it. They're like, oh yeah, this is even better. Now I already had that excuse, and now you're catering to me for it even more. So they're just waiting wide open. Let's do this.
Yeah, well, it's just they grew up in the world where they could sit in their room but talk to everyone in the world. And no one had ever grown up like that before.
That's such an interesting notion to me, only knowing the internet. There's these, I guess that's Generation Z or whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah.
But these younger guys,
they don't know anything prior to that. They all got iPhones at 10 or 12 or 13. You know what I mean?
It's
like
mind-blowing to think of that. And just, could you imagine if I was a 13-year-old kid with an iPhone?
Yeah. I mean, I'd get into trouble for sure.
To say the least.
Yeah, like it's crazy, and like literally, my sister is married with 3 kids, and the last 2, or pretty much all of them, I guess. But like, I'm like watching her interact with them and like using Snapchat with like her kids, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, okay, it just got me thinking. I'm like, in 10, 15 years from now, or 20 years from now, something like that, the first generation of fully grown adults are going to go into the workforce at 25, whose brains are the first peoples ever who have developed with AR interfacing while their brains are in the developmental program. Mm-hmm. And we don't have any idea how that's going to affect them, and I don't think anybody even thinks about it.
Yeah. It's
like people use Snapchat and that AR shit all day long on their babies, and it's like you're kind of tricking your baby into thinking it's a computer.
Yeah.
So that kid who's growing up right now and their brain is developing, in 25, 30 years from now, when they have a kid, they're going to think that it's 100% okay the day that they're born, not only to cut off the umbilical cord, but to inject them with the chip, whatever chip it is.
We're right around the corner from the Neuralink.
I signed up 8 years ago for Neuralink to be in the test thing once they got to it. I haven't gotten an email yet, but
I would totally do it.
When he announced that company in like 2011, 2012, I signed up.
Let me know if you get it, if you get an email, because I'll get in on that. I love it. Joe Rogan or somebody asked him flat out, so how do you keep the first 5 guys that do it from taking over the world?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I don't think you'd want to be. And he just basically went back to like, I'm smart enough to take over the world already, and I don't want to, so I don't think anybody would.
Yeah.
That was kind of the answer. And it was like, I don't know if I believe that answer or not. There's some maniacal fucks out there.
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah. Just did you ever see the movie Her? With Joaquin Phoenix?
I don't watch a lot of movies, to be honest.
It was basically that, but it was just an earpiece with basically the most advanced Siri ever in his ear. But right in the very beginning of the movie, he takes it out of the box, he puts it in his ear, and it says, "Boom, hello." And he says, "Oh, hello. What's your name?" I'm John. What's your name?" Samantha. He goes, Samantha? Well, how'd you get that name? I just gave it to myself. You just gave it to yourself? When? When you asked me, I immediately read 80,000 baby books and what their names are, and I came up with Samantha. It means origin of the sun, and I liked it. So the notion of that, like with these,
and again, that's not futuristic shit. That is them Easter egging us and showing us what is already in existence.
We already have that. Essentially, it's just not in your ear; it's in your hand. And when the bandwidth gets fast enough, and this 5G and Apple fiber and all that shit, Google Fiber, we're getting closer to it. That's the limitation. The way I understand it is bandwidth. How fast our brains work so much faster than that does. But just the notion of, you don't just know it, but the moment you ask yourself, how do I make these peanut butter brownies? Oh, okay. And now I know. calculator. You won't always have a calculator on you.
Instantaneous learning.
You won't always have a calculator on you. Eat shit and die. What do you think about this? Just any number is just there. What happens to schools? What happens to anything?
Well, I mean, pre-Neuralink, I think the schools should be gotten rid of anyway, because I didn't learn anything in school.
Schools in the sense of what most public schooling is laughable on most standards. I agree.
I call it, they're just American public schooling are just clone worker bee drone factories.
Oh yeah, they're teaching people to sit down and shut up and get ready to do a lot of stuff you don't want to do.
Correct. Yeah, it's just you are going to be the legs of the centipede that do all of the work to drive humanity forward as we do nothing and drive the way.
There will always be this hierarchy of this person who's in charge of you, that person in charge of them, and there's also a big man at top who's going to tell you shut the fuck up, and you just know your place.
Yep. And everyone, when they get born, they pop out onto a conveyor belt, and they just ride the conveyor belt and look at the things go by them.
Well, as long as you gotta get,
and they don't realize they can jump off the conveyor belt and run around and blow shit up.
They don't want us to know that.
Yeah, well, I realized it at a young age, so.
I did too, and they've been fighting me on it for a long time. And now that I'm fully a grown-ass man, we have a hard time stifling us and getting going.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, shit, man. With that, we've done a little over an hour.
Awesome.
Wrap it up. Rock and roll, folks. Good Hall Presents. Thank you very much.